the CETA spur, and I'm ready for a handrail number.
Copy. It's handrail 3291. It's just nadir of the ATA.
Little one, 3291.
Affirm, it's a little one.
Okay, handrail, wire tie installed 3431.
Copy, 3431 installed. This one right here, this little guy.
Okay.
The first one you get to after the CETA spur.
Okay.
And as you work 3291, I have a few cautions for both of you when ready.
Never-ending amount of cautions for us.
I know you love them. So you're going to avoid contact with the charge beam. If contact occurs, wait 2 to 5 minutes for structural response to dissipate. Verify the S3 boom Ethernet cable is clear of starboard charge rotational envelope, and avoid contact with the CETA light and CP3. How copy? Okay, and I see the wire tie being worked. Next, you're going to route the cable to handrail 3222. So you're going to go, make sure your safety tether's not trapped by the cable or wire tie. You'll translate starboard of the CETA spur to 3292.
Confirm which side of the light you'd like it on.
On the forward side of the light.
Copy that.
Okay, so the handrail 3291 now has a wire tie and the Ethernet cable captured.
Copy, Bob.
Are we okay to transition to the aft? The next handrail you want on the aft side. Transition forward for the
Yeah, you'll transition nadir. So after 3291, you'll transition nadir and go past handrail 3282.
okay. Want a wire tie on 3282.
So as you continue this translation starboard, you can get just wire tie every 5 to 10 feet and give us the wire tie locations.
I think we probably need one to initiate.
Yeah, I think it makes sense right there.
No, it's not very far. It's just not.
It's right up. It's on
Turn, yeah.
Turn, yeah.
Yeah, and there are extra wire ties, so that sounds good.
Now to 3258. Underneath the charge.
Copy 3258. You can continue out. And Chris, as you continue outboard, you're eventually going to handrail 3222, which is a small handrail.
22, copy.
Wire tie is installed on handrail 3282.
Copy 3282, Bob.
I'll do 3275.
Copy, installing a wire tie on 3275.
Wire tie is installed on 3275.
Copy, Bob.
Next.
Copy 3267. Work.
Another handover of video and audio from the TDRS satellites, part of the Space Network under the Space Communications and Navigation Program. This is the International Space Station Flight Control Room, leading the leading the flight control teams and the spacewalk today, led by Flight Director Royce Renfrew, you see there in the gray blazer. Behind him, Jackie Kagi is the spacewalk officer today.
I didn't catch your last, Chris.
Working the details of the procedures with her teams in some of the back rooms. The voice you're hearing is Jasmine Mogbelli, to the right of Renfrew. She's the ground IV walking Cassidy and Benkin through today's procedures. Cassidy and Benkin continuing the work to route Ethernet cables on the outside of the station, now regaining some of that video.
Copy, you've got the wire tie started. You can continue outboard to handrail 3010 if you'd like. We don't want you to turn that corner without dropping a wire tie there, though. And I've got another caution for both of you. Translate only on Zenith Edge side of ELC4. How copy?
And I copy as well.
Jasmine, we must be getting close to hourly check-in.
Yeah, Chris, you caught me. I missed it. We're 5 minutes over. Sorry about that. So you're at 5 hours and 5 minutes. Limiting consumable is Medox on Chris at 7 hours, and you're approximately on the timeline.
Okay, copy that.
Put one on 3238 or 3234, one or the other.
Your choice, Bob.
Tight little spot like we predicted. It's a corner.
Yeah, and Chris, we expect that that corner may need 2 people, and you'll want to make sure the cable is routed forward of the CP3 stanchion.
Don't think I can squeeze. Don't come any closer. I'm gonna up the bag and go around this thing. I can't get in between.
Okay. And I'll pass you the bag around.
Yeah, but I feel like there's not a whole lot of need to tether to the bag, but it seems unconscious in the bolt to not. Airtight all the way. Adjustable from my mini workstation.
Down to 2 more wire ties. Looks like there's another, we've used about half of them so far. Trying to put one. You already got one in down there?
There's two already in here.
Okay.
You'll be able to make the corner.
Okay. I'll snug it up and then...
Going around the camera.
Copy.
Thank you. Coming up, top your head. See the radiator, my feet aren't close. Okay. Whenever you get a sec, can you just release? There's an adjustable from the bag. Okay, the next handrail.
Yep. Ready for that?
I am. Got it, thanks. Okay, Jasmine, we rounded the corner.
Okay, copy, and you've got the cable back forward of the CP3 stanchion, and you'll want to wire tie to 3010.
The one after 3010.
3009, and you want it routed starboard of width 4.
Non-radiator side of 4.
A firm. And on 3009, you'll also wire on that same starboard side, and you want to wire tie the nadir stanchion.
Nadir. Towards Earth.
Let me know when you're probably going to a little bit before you can move forward, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a tie down here so you can... Okay. Okay. Need you help? Wire ties remaining?
2.
Okay.
You're getting a live view from the helmet camera of Chris Cassidy, continuing to work on routing that Ethernet cable with the help of Bob Benkin, working together now as they enter the one of the trickier elements of routing the cable around one of the corners of the space station.
And then the next one is right over the hump over here. Okay.
Ground IV Jasmine Mogbelli guiding them through which wire ties and handrails to route the cable and which direction relative to the position of the station.
Passing 3008.
Copy, and you're going to route Zenith to S3 Phase 4, and I've got another caution for you. Do not translate on CAS, deploy Clevis, or ADP. Visually verify ADP is in place when passing the area.
Either 3008 or 3007. Pick one.
Negative. Next one is 3016.
so it kind of cuts across the corner, away from the radiator.
A-firm, Chris.
006. Particular item 3016.
Negative.
Coming, I'll let you over.
Okay.
Cassidy and Benkin working together on some of the final segments of routing this Ethernet cable.
Did you say 3016 now has a wire tie?
It has I put a wire tie on the handrail waiting for Bob.
Okay, copy. Next one,
Next handrail.
3043, and that's another small handrail. Should be the next one.
Straight across the beam.
Yep, A-firm. It's the next one past 3030.
On the other side of the stanchion.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the stanchion. And it's oriented just like 3024 was. Copy, and that will be the last one that we wire tie it to.
Okay, 3009. Going to have 3010 is complete.
Copy, 3010 and 3009 are complete.
And to keep it off the CAS system, should we it'll be after 3009? What are you expecting, Jeff? It looks like it's Chris has already got one on the other face down here. I just didn't see it pulled out a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, she said it cuts that corner.
So if you go straight from 3009 to 3016, you're saying it's hitting the CAS?
Well, I just didn't know about 016. So now I do, and Chris has a wire tie already on there. I just need to get it captured in there based on to keep it clear of the CAS.
Okay, copy. Okay, so you can reel out the excess cable to expose the P1 connector in the middle of the cable reel bag and remove the P1 connector from the reel bag, and then you'll stow the excess of the cable bundle on the nadir stanchion of 3049.
Nadir stanchion 3049. I think there's an earth down there because I've been no idea which way is up or down without it.
Yeah.
This is Mission Control Houston, so Cassidy and Bankin completing the wire ties that route the Ethernet cable to this position.
Yeah, we've got a good view of your WVS, Chris. That is locked.
Obviously.
His next task will be to stow some of the excess. On the nadir side, the side facing away from the Earth. As Cassidy is wrapping up some of these Ethernet routing procedures, we do have another Ask NASA question. This one comes from Jeff on Twitter, mentioning that he's seeing a variety of tasks performed by Bankin and Cassidy. And he's asking, does each expedition crew receive specialized training, electrical, mechanical, networking, in preparation for their time on station? The answer is no. They actually provide more generic training, getting familiarization with working with some of these elements. Cassidy, though, and Bankin, both experienced astronauts, working with a variety of different equipment. Cassidy himself even adding to some of the procedures, actually writing them for the lithium-ion battery swaps.
Ahead of timeline. So with that, we can either call it there. We're currently at 5:23 on the PET, or we can go after the get-ahead task of the CP13 lens filter removal. That should take about 15 minutes if you guys want to do it.
I think,
Why don't we check and see where we are
Yeah.
with the WVS this thing and see if we want to add a wire tie or two.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and then when we get to the top of the Seagasburg, we'll rehack the clock and assess there.
Okay, sounds good.
The ORU bag, it's at the airlock, right?
Correct.
Copy that.
How much more daylight do we have, Justin?
Say again?
How much more daylight do we have?
26 minutes. And just for your essay, Chris and Bob, with 36 that you're going by, that's where the boom goes.
Say that.
Anything else here I can help you with, Chris?
I think I'm done.
Okay.
I'm just taking a picture down the wire, kind of a little mini survey of it. I'm heading your way, Bob.
This is Mission Control Houston. Status update on the progress of today's spacewalk. Cassidy and Bankin are wrapping up the routing of this Ethernet cable.
With that, we'll need a glove and half inspection on both of you, inventory on the reel bag, and then the WVS survey, which I think, Chris, you're starting to do now. And so in whatever order you want to do those.
Gloves EV1 are good, half is dry. No change to my gloves at all. When Bob's done with his, I'll give you the bag.
Copy.
translation, and then I'll be a status.
Okay, Bob.
So again, Cassidy and Bankin wrapping up this cable routing procedure. Of their timelined tasks, this one is the last on the timeline. They do have some time, if they decide to do a get-ahead task, to remove a lens cover of one of the cameras. Both astronauts relaying that they will first complete this last task and then assess the timeline after completing all of the tasks for this last item on today's procedures.
Okay, real bag Charlie. It has an adjustable with a long duration tie down tether connected between the D-rings. The wire tie on that long duration tie down tether.
Copy.
There's another adjustable. Both of those are connected to one wire tie caddy. Bob has the other one. There is a ret, an adjustable with two caps on it. And there's an additional adjustable which came from my mini workstation.
Copy. Additional adjustable from your mini workstation. And Chris, we're tracking that that's everything inside the real bag.
Okay.
So as we get the WVS survey, then we can head back towards the airlock. You guys can stow the real bag. Either you can temp stow it outside for now or put it in the airlock, and then we'll be going after the CP13 lens filter removal. And it's up to you guys if you want to go after the lens filter removal or call it.
Hey, Jaws, I added an additional wire tie to handrail 3224.
Copy 3224.
And I think I've got one more, so it feels like I should just go ahead and use it to make sure there's not any other things that we could do to take care of the radiator. Put it on 3238.
Copy, putting a wire tie on 3238.
Using the 3009 3010 corner. Thing fell out of the envelope.
Copy, Chris.
Wire tie is installed on 3238.
Copy 3238.
think of right there.
It needs another one.
It needs another one, yeah. Not all out.
Put one more in here.
And,
Maybe this one. I have it.
can you give me another wire tie?
More.
This is good because of the light, the gap here, but
Yeah.
okay, one more on 3282.
You have it or you need it?
I got it.
Copy 3282.
Which one was that you just did, Rick? Chris?
Which number?
Yeah.
Reminder. 3258.
Copy 3258.
All out.
And one in reserve. PET, Jasmine?
5 hours, 35 minutes.
I don't know how you feel, but it seems like there's no need to hop on that.
Agree.
Just head in.
Sounds good. So there's the Petersburg. I don't know why I feel upside down, but I think it's you. Take a couple pictures here on the Petersburg.
Yeah.
Okay, so copy And just a reminder, as you head inboard towards the airlock, you'll want to put your Richman fare leads in place again. Chris, yours on 3409, and Bob, yours on 3410. And Chris, you'll be weaving your tether again down the port handrails on the Cetus spur.
Okay. Only one of those 58 pushes.
Yeah, I only saw it go like once. Thank you for the reminder about the adjustable lead.
Affirm, Bob, 3410.
About took yours. My spare lead is in on 3410.
While I'm working my fairly,
Copy.
maybe you can grab the GoPro, which is right at the base of the Cetus spur.
Okay, I'll do that.
And we do want Chris to lead back into the airlock.
So you want me to loiter here. Like Chris head back to the airlock. I can still get the GoPro because you've got the bag.
Okay.
Take care of. Think I'm out of your way.
And swim is fine, right? Yep.
I see the GoPro on the airlock.
And Bob, could we have you cycle your WVS?
That time it was off. Your safety tether is around the light there.
Is that what it is? The light?
Yeah, it looks like it's below the light. You're off.
And Chris, your cross is going to be okay?
Because I put my fair lead in first.
I don't know. But where it is, I think. See what I'm talking about, where they cross back there? Or yours is on top? Okay. Okay.
This is Mission Control Houston. Cassidy and Benkin have completed the final task on today's procedures, the routing of the Ethernet cable. The crew is opting not to switch out the lens cover, one of the get-aheads today, and rather ingress for an on-time EVA in just about 6 hours. Right now sitting at 5 hours 40 minutes into today's spacewalk. Cassidy and Benkin just working on their tethers, making sure they're in a good configuration as they make their way back to the airlock to conclude today's spacewalk. The clock will stop once repressurization of the crew lock begins. station at this time is heading into an orbital nighttime, 269 statute miles over the South Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, Chris, you're breaking up a bit, but I think you said the fare leads in place on 3409, and you're heading down the Cedar Spur. Just remember to weave the tether down the port handrails.
Okay, copy that. I can clean it up too. Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
And I believe you both called it, but as you head into the airlock, you're going to need to retrieve the GoPro, which you left on handrail 0500, and the ORU bag.
Copy. Okay, I'm transitioning off the Cedar Spur. One of my fare leads popped off there. Yep, I got it. Get the GoPro. Copy. Home cover 3.
Copy, thermal covers open. And you can stow the reel bag in the airlock and attach your waist tether to the airlock D-ring extender.
Waist tether. Closed and locked. Closed and locked on both ends.
Copy, Chris. And let me know when you're ready to configure your safety tether. It's going to go to the aft external airlock D-ring.
Hold on, gentlemen. I'm just working on the bag.
Copy, Chris.
Jasmine, I've got the GoPro and the PARTE and its associated wrench.
Copy, Bob.
Bag, Charlie, is in the airlock.
Copy, Chris. And I don't know if you wanted to grab the ORU bag or work your tether, just let me know.
Best to put the ORU bag. I'm working on that right now.
Copy. Copy, Chris. And Chris, the camera's still on you, is that correct?
Camera is still on me with its red and L-bracket.
Copy, thanks. Okay, Chris, for your tether, you're going to be going to the aft external D-ring. You'll tether to and attach your green hook to that aft D-ring.
Hook to the aft D-ring.
This is Mission Control Houston. Cassidy and Bankin making their way back into the airlock to complete today's spacewalk today. The station is again entering an orbital nighttime over the South Atlantic Ocean.
Check reels unlocked, and then you can pick up your yellow hook and stow it on your mini workstation.
Most of the work now is the tether configuration to make sure that the crew is safe to ingress. They got through all of their tasks today. They had one item that was officially as a get-ahead, crew opting not to tackle that one today. They still have 2 more spacewalks scheduled later this month that they'll have the option of getting that task done. That's just removing a filter from one of the cameras on the outside of the station. But the 1B power channel is now outfitted with 3 new lithium-ion batteries, all up and running. The 3B channel is prepped for their work later this month, and they routed a power cable and an Ethernet cable.
The GoPro, the front end effector, all in its associated red inside the airlock at this time.
Copy, Bob. You can attach your waist tether to the airlock D-ring extender.
My waist tether is closed and locked. The airlock D-ring extender.
Copy, and is that both ends, the end on you as well as the end on the airlock D-ring extender?
Affirmative.
Copy. With that, you'll be going to the forward external airlock D-ring. You can tether to and attach your green hook to the forward D-ring.
The green hook is tethered to the forward D-ring.
Copy.
Wheel is unlocked.
Copy, and gate close hook locked.
Need the green hook locked? The question?
Affirm, we need the green hook locked.
The green hook is locked.
Copy. With that, you can release your yellow hook and stow it on your mini workstation and ingress the airlock.
Yellow hook is stowed on my workstation. I will ingress the airlock.
Copy.
If there's any of these bags I need to help you with.
Just spinning around. Okay. We're in our space station is a new airlock thermal cover closure mechanism. Gonna be nice. Thermal cover's closed.
Copy. Thermal cover is closed. You can both remove your SUs from the stowage pouch, remove the DCM cover, Velcro to the DCM, and connect your SUs to the DCM.
It worked.
This is Mission Control Houston. Cassidy and Bankin are now inside the crew lock. On the other side of that hatch is Doug Hurley and Yvonne Wagner, waiting for the to take over the procedures to repressurize that crew lock and get the crew back into the International Space Station. Repressurization start will be the official end time of today's spacewalk. Cassidy and Bankin now working together to essentially hook themselves up to station power and consumables.
I got the other bags up here, the medium, OU bag, the bag, the fill-up bag, the GoPro with the mark. I think my SCU is attached and verified locked.
Copy.
Mine's confirmed locked.
Copy, Chris. Both of you note a TCV setting of 8 max cold minimizes time for SCU cooling. With that, you can switch water to off. Expect an H2O is off message.
Everyone, water on.
UV2 water off.
Okay, caution, do not close hatch until EMU water off for 2 minutes, and we're about to have a handover in 30 seconds.
Another handover of audio and video communication from the station should be regaining that shortly. Flight Director Royce Renfrew leading today's spacewalk flight operations teams here in Mission Control Houston. Jasmine Mogbelli, immediately to his right, has been guiding Bankin and Cassidy through today's procedures. She only has a few more tasks on her end before officially handing it over to Doug Hurley inside the station, who will guide them through the repressurization process.
Okay, back with you after the handoff. We've got about 30 seconds left.
Rankin and Cassidy attached to station power and consumables.
Okay, there's 2 minutes. Chris, you can verify the outer hatch is clear of hardware and the handle position is per the hatch decal, and then you can close and lock the hatch.
Easier without your waist tethers there.
Yeah.
It's clear all around. No.
Copy.
Not quite copy.
Yeah, Chris, did you copy that 2 minutes is up?
I'm working on the hatch.
Copy.
Wiggle is closed and it is latched and the lock mechanism is locked.
Copy. Hatch is closed and locked. Going over to pre-repress. Check your, Bob, for you on the UIA, check oxygen EMU 1 and 2 valves are both open.
Oxygen EMU1 and EMU2 are both open.
Switch power EV1 and 2 to on.
EMU1 and EMU2 power is on. The green LEDs in both EMU1 and EMU2 power is on.
Copy. Check the voltage
green
on
LEDs
power
in both
EV1 and 2. Copy. Check the voltage on power EV1 and 2. Copy. 18.6 for both. Both of you can switch your powers to SCU. Expect a warning tone. 18.6 for both. Both of you can switch your powers to SCU. Expect a warning tone.
EV1, power SCU. EV1, power SCU.
Copy. With that, we're complete with the pre-repress. I'll hand you over to Doug and Yvonne. Great work today, guys. Copy. With that, we're complete with the pre-repress. I'll hand you over to Doug and Yvonne. Great work today, guys.
Okay, welcome back. On your DCM,
Thank you, Doug.
O2 actuator to press. Okay, welcome back. On your DCMs, O2 actuator to press.
Work.
Copy that. Chris, check the EV hatch and
Position press as well.
Copy that. Chris, check the EV hatch and okay. Next steps, I'm going to start throttling. Just let me know if you guys have any issues. We'll start next steps, I'm going to start throttling. Just let me know if you guys have any issues. We'll start slow, just like last time. Expect an alert tone as well when you get to 4.0. You guys can expect an alert tone as well when you get to 4.0. increase it a little. Increase it a little.
And with that, we do have repressurization underway. That beginning at 12:14
And with that, we do have repressurization underway.
The duration of
That
today's
beginning at
spacewalk,
12:14
coming in
p.m.
at 6
Central
hours
Time,
and
officially
1 minute.
concluding the duration of today's spacewalk, coming in at 6 hours and 1 minute.
North.
At the time of the start of repressurization, the International Space Station and the Expedition 63 crew were 265
At the time of the start of
statute miles
repressurization,
over
the
Indian Ocean.
International Space Station and the Expedition 63 crew were 265 statute miles over the Indian Ocean.
Pass through 4.
Okay, we stopped at 5. We're going to do the 2 minutes to stabilize pressure. Okay, we stopped at 5. We're going to do the 2 minutes to stabilize pressure. Okay, pressure's stable. We're going to wait 1 more minute and check it again.
Again, repressurization began at 12:14 p.m. Central Time. One of the checks on the way up to the pressure of the International Space Station at 14.7 is to hold at 5 psi for leak checks. That's underway now.
Okay, that's the extra minute. Pressure stable. Copy the glove heaters and contamination. You can take your O2 actuators to IV.
actuator IV was... Two actuators IV for EV2.
Copy, Bill. We're going to start repressing again. Just let me know if anything starts to hurt.
Copy.
Go on.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. Good leak checks at 5 psi, bringing it back up to the pressure of the International Space Station. Now more than 9 psi, heading towards 14.7. Now coming up on 12 psi. This was the 229th spacewalk for International Space Station assembly and maintenance. It was the 5th conducted this year in 2020, the 2nd spacewalk for Expedition 63. The 8th in Cassidy's career, his career total at 43 hours and 22 minutes. For Bankin, his total is 49 hours and 41 minutes, also his 8th spacewalk. He's now 11th on the all-time list for most cumulative time of spacewalking in EVA history. Today's spacewalk began at 6:13 a.m. Central Time, ending at 12:14 p.m. for 6 hours and 1 minute duration.
The crew lock is about equal to 0.
Of the 229 spacewalks, the total time of all 229 adds up to 60 days and 34 minutes of total spacewalking time. Pressure now a little bit more than 14 psi, almost complete in the repressurization process.
Look for DPDT, it looks stable in here.
Got the alert sound.
Okay. Bobby, if you want to make sure you're clear, we're going to go ahead and get the hatch open.
I'm clear.
Houston Airlock, we're going to 1.240. Step 2.
Copy and concur.
And repressurization is complete. The hatch is open. Doug Hurley and Yvonne Wagner will work together to get the crew back into the equipment lock and start removing some of their equipment.
Yes, Doug, we will take care of step 4.
I think we both did it, Chris.
First into the equipment lock is Bob Benkin. Anatoly Ivanushin from Roscosmos coming into the equipment lock to help in the these final steps to remove the suits from Benkin and Cassidy. First step is the removal of that SAFER unit, Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. This is on the bottom portion of their sort of backpack of the EMU, the Extravehicular Mobility Unit. As NASA astronaut Doug Hurley works to get Benkin and Cassidy out of their suits, aided by Yvonne Wagner and Anatoly Ivanushin from Roscosmos. A quick summary of some of the activities from today's spacewalk. Cassidy and Benkin both successfully installed the final lithium-ion battery onto the 1B channel of the starboard 6 truss. All batteries were checked out, and all 3 are able to store power on the 1B channel. That completes the upgrades to 7 of 8 power channels on the International Space Station. There's one more left. Cassidy and Benkin will go out the hatch once again at the end of this month to complete that final channel. They already got some work done ahead of time to prep for some of that work, including installing some handling and translation aids also storing some portable foot restraints, and braking torque of some of the batteries, all of the batteries, that they'll be removing and replacing with new lithium-ion batteries, again coming up later this month. They were also able to address some tasks that were originally on a long list of get-ahead tasks over the course of the 2 spacewalks that were designated for upgrading the 1B channel. But Cassidy and Benkin got way ahead of the schedule, especially on the last spacewalk, doing most of the work, so they were able to address a lot of the get-ahead tasks, including the routing of power and Ethernet cables on the outside of the International Space Station. One of the get-aheads was to remove an H fixture on the mast canister of one of the station's solar arrays. This is some preparation work and one of the original get-aheads for some future power upgrades. Benkin was unable to remove that H fixture, but again, this was one of the get-aheads, so it gives the flight operations teams plenty of time to come up with new procedures and techniques to get that H fixture removed on a future spacewalk. The crew also opted not to remove a lens filter that was on one of the external cameras, again, another task that can be addressed on a later spacewalk. The primary task of upgrading the 1B channel is complete, and they even got a head start on the 3B channel to be completed later in July. So again, one more power channel coming up to complete the 3. That'll be the 3B power channel on the S6 truss, the same truss segment that Benkin and Cassidy worked on today. There's 2 more spacewalks scheduled to complete that channel, the final channel of the 8 that consist of the station's power system. As Doug Hurley works to remove the elements of the suits of Cassidy and Benkin after today's 6-hour and 1-minute spacewalk. We do have one more item for you to tune into on NASA TV. NASA astronaut Kate Rubins will be discussing her upcoming second long-duration mission to the International Space Station with her crewmates Sergei Ryzhikov and Sergei Kudzvertskov of Roscosmos. They'll be conducting a crew news conference at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern today, Wednesday, July 1st. Be sure to tune into NASA TV to hear about the upcoming mission, where they're scheduled to launch on October 14th of this year. Once again, this was the 229th spacewalk of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. Today's 6-hour and 1-minute spacewalk makes it the 8th for Cassidy in his career, totaling 43 hours and 22 minutes of spacewalking time. For Bob Benkin, his total is at 49 hours and 41 minutes, putting him as 11th on the list of cumulative time for all spacewalkers in history. Today's spacewalk began a little earlier than scheduled at 6:13 a.m. Central Time and wrapped up at 12:14 p.m. Central Time for a 6-hour, 1-minute spacewalk.
Station on 1, we see the enabled caution. No immediate action for you.
as our coverage of today's spacewalk, the 229th, in support of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. As our coverage of today's spacewalk comes to a close, we'll address one more hashtag Ask NASA question. This one comes from Nicole, who's asking, what will Chris and Bob do when they come back from the spacewalk? The spacewalk, as you can imagine, is a long day for the astronauts. It was not just the 6-hour and 1-minute spacewalk. There was a lot of pre-work, which included pre-breathing and in-suit light exercise. It was a full day for them, so after removing the suits, they'll have the ability to eat and enter into a pre-sleep period, essentially wrapping up for the day. Space station is at Greenwich Mean Time, now about 5:36 GMT PM. Cassidy and Benkin do have the ability to drink a little bit of water from their suits during the spacewalk, but once they get their suits off, it'll be the first time in many hours that they'll have to eat something.
Station on 1 for the airlock.
Go ahead.
Hey Doug, we're not seeing data coming from Chris's suit. Can you check that he's on pry and low?
You want Chris in low for comm?
Affirm, pry and low, please.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, that did it.
Thank you. And Doug, was one of the switches in a different config? Which one did you toggle?
Went pry to hardline, back to pry.
Copy, thanks.
We think maybe the frequency button was in the middle, not in low.
Okay, copy, thanks.
Once again, today's 6-hour and 1-minute spacewalk began at 6:13 a.m. Central Time and officially ended at 12:14 p.m. Central Time. With both of our crew members' helmets removed, Cassidy and Benkin will continue to get removed from their suits and end their day. And now we'll wrap up our coverage of today's spacewalk, the 229th, in support of International Space Station Assembly and Maintenance. Once again, stay tuned for the crew news conference of NASA astronaut Kate Rubins discussing her upcoming mission to the International Space Station with her crewmates Sergei Ryzhikov and Sergei Kudzverskov. That's beginning at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Until then, this is Mission Control Houston.